Fall is my favorite time of year for several reasons, one of which is getting to cook, bake, and of course eat all of the cozy and comforting fall meals and baked goods. I am a huge proponent of eating to nourish both your body and your soul. I believe that it is important to nourish your body with lots and lots of nutrients so that it can function at its best and so that you can feel good, but that it's also important for you to nourish your body with foods that bring you joy, remind you of special memories and family members, and that satisfy your cravings and hunger. And I have found that the true magic to healthy eating and keeping it up long term is when you can do both at the same time. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa. If you are new around here, I am a pharmacist and health coach, and I share videos every week to help you to improve your health, make cooking fun again, and eat delicious foods that help you feel good. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you what I stocked up on at Costco this past weekend to help me to prepare for all of the fall cooking and baking that is about to go down here in my kitchen. These foods should last me a pretty long time, meaning that they won't go bad on me too quickly. Of course, there are other foods that I need to get on a more regular basis, but they are more perishable, and so I don't stock up on them as much as I do these items. I love to cook and bake, and I also share a lot of that type of content here on my channel, and so I want to enter into this fall season prepared. It is an investment initially to stock up on some of these foods. I mean, nothing is cheap nowadays, but stocking up on these foods helps me save money in the long run. Plus, I make like 99% of my meals and snacks at home, which saves me money too because I am not constantly going out to eat. And I really believe that by eating healthy foods, I am supporting my wellness, which means less sick days, chronic health issues, and the sneaky medical expenses that go along with all of that. So let's get started. Most of these foods are already pantry staples for me, but I'm going to share with you how I like to use them during the fall season. First up are eggs. Eggs can last you a couple of weeks, and I definitely will need to restock these throughout the season, but I am starting to buy them now like 2 dozen at a time instead of just 1 dozen. In the fall, I tend to crave warm, hearty meals, and scrambled eggs or a nice breakfast sandwich for breakfast or lunch just sounds so good. Lately, I have been loving having a sourdough English muffin toasted, put a little bit of grass-fed butter on that, and then top it with a scrambled egg, some fried ham, and a slice of cheese. Lately, I've been really into Swiss. Just melt that on top, and y'all, it is so, so good. I also need eggs for quiches, for making meatloaf, and of course lots of baked goods. Some of my favorites around this time of year include banana bread, pumpkin pancakes, waffles, crepes, and I need them for my sourdough projects as well. Next up are carrots. So I love to eat a lot of carrots in the fall, and so I got this humongous bag. This is not going to last me all of fall. I'm definitely going to be restocking on it, but I'm definitely buying it in larger quantities, just like the eggs. Carrots can last you a pretty long time, so just store them in your refrigerator and you'll be able to use them for a couple of weeks. So some ways that I am planning on using these. I'm going to roast them. You can make them savory with garlic and ground thyme and rosemary, or you can make them sweet with either honey or a little maple syrup and add on some ground cinnamon. That's really good. I will be adding these into soups, stews, and gravies. They add so much flavor and nutrients into your meals. I will also be shredding them up and adding them into my quiches, making carrot cake muffins, carrot cake, breakfast cookies, add them into stir fries, or even top them on salads. So lots of ways to use carrots during the fall. And I also like to peel and chop them and just eat them raw and dip them in hummus. That makes a really great snack. Plus, these are a good source of vitamin C, which is great to help support your immune system. Next up is peanut butter. Peanut butter is my favorite nut butter. I just love the way it tastes. And I always make sure to get one that only contains organic peanuts and sea salt and nothing else. I personally like to avoid the ones that contain extra oils and sweeteners. I use peanut butter every day in my oatmeal. I also like to use it to make my avocado fudgy brownies. Originally, I had used almond butter for that, but I did it once with peanut butter and it worked out just as good. The recipe for that is on my blog and on my channel. They're literally the best brownies ever. I also use this to make peanut butter cookies, and around Halloween, I love to make chocolate peanut butter cups. I have a recipe for that on my channel as well. If you search my channel, you'll find recipe videos for pretty much all of these meal ideas. I have my favorites and I make them again and again. Next up is potatoes. I got a big old bag of baking potatoes. I will be buying even more than this, especially as they go on sale as the holidays get closer, but this will definitely help me to get started. I will cook these up and make hash browns for Sunday morning brunch, roast them and make like roasted like fries in my oven or in my air fryer. You can bake these and have a baked potato, make mashed potatoes, potato pancakes, potato and green bean salad. My family has made that my entire life. That's a really good one. And also potato and leek soup. Oh, they're heavy. I also like to chop them up and add them into beef stew and ham and split pea soup. I also want to try making my own pierogies this year. I found a sourdough recipe for those and I'm definitely considering making those, like highly considering. I think I'm gonna do it. I also found a sourdough recipe for potato bread rolls. I think that sounds delicious. And so I wanna make those too. Next up are apples. I haven't heavily stocked up on these too much, but I am starting to buy apples in larger quantities like I do with the eggs and the carrots. So I plan on chopping these up and adding them on top of my oatmeal and yogurt. Dipping them in peanut butter is always a good afternoon snack. So is dehydrating them or roasting them and making dried apples or putting them in the air fryer to make apple chips. Those are delicious. And so much cheaper than buying apple chips. I mean, my gosh, those things are expensive. I also like to make fried cinnamon apples to top on oatmeal or pancakes, or even serve like as a side to dinner, like if you go to Cracker Barrel or something like that. Again, I have a recipe for those on my channel too. I also found a sourdough recipe for cinnamon apple swirl bread, and I have already made a cinnamon raisin swirl bread and it turned out delicious. So I'm just gonna like sub out the raisins and put in apples, and I think it's gonna turn out really good. I also like to thinly slice these and make my grandma's apple sauerkraut. It's my favorite sauerkraut of all time. I'll make baked apples in the microwave. That's really easy. You can make your own applesauce. And of course, we can't forget about apple crisp and apple pie. I mean, come on. Next up is bone broth. I even opened it already. I love to make my own chicken broth, but I also like to just have some bone broth on hand for quick, dinner nights when I just don't have much time or I don't have bone broth or stock like on hand, like ready to go and like homemade. This will help me to make some quick soups, gravies, and stews. And if I can, I prefer to buy bone broth over regular stock just because the bones have been simmering away in water for a longer time, and then the nutrients present in the bones get into the broth, and then you're consuming all of those nutrients. Bone broth is an amazing food for supporting digestion and gut health and the integrity of your gut lining. You could also just heat this up and drink it like a hot beverage. Some may think that's a little weird, but sometimes I'm in the mood for it, and I find it very soothing on my stomach, and it tastes really good. Next up is bouillon. So this isn't the healthiest food item in my kitchen, but in a pinch, it is super helpful to add flavor to my dishes, especially soups, stews, and gravies. Fall is when we really get into soups and stews, and I'm so ready for that. I like to have both chicken and beef on hand, just depending on like what I'm making. I'll use one or the other. And if I see turkey, then I love that too, but I haven't seen that in my local grocery stores in a while. So until I see it, this is what I got. They also make a vegetable one too. Next up are natural sweeteners. So I have honey and maple syrup. I use these anytime I need to sweeten my foods or to use in a recipe, whether that's cooking or baking. I use these to sweeten my plain yogurt in any baking recipe, like I said, and to make granola. I love maple syrup for that. I make Chinese sesame chicken with honey, and my Thanksgiving cranberry sauce is sweetened with honey as well. These natural sweeteners contain more nutrients than refined white sugar, and they replace sugar really well in pretty much any recipe. Maple syrup is a good source of some trace minerals like manganese and zinc, and honey can help support your immune system. Next up, I got some oils and fats. So I got some grass-fed butter, I got coconut oil, and then I also got avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil. I mainly use butter to just smear on bread, like sourdough bread. Guys, it's so good. But it's also good for pie crust. For baking recipes, I like to use coconut oil. For high heat sauteing and roasting, I like to use avocado oil. And for dipping bread, I love to make a rosemary garlic infused olive oil. Picture this. This is what I'm picturing. A bowl of Italian minestrone soup with a slice of sourdough Italian bread that is dipped in rosemary and garlic infused olive oil. That just sounds so heavenly to me. So this time around, I picked up a bag of these sprouted oats. I like that they are sprouted because that means that the nutrients in here are going to be more readily and easily absorbed into our body. But if you are needing to kind of like save and stuff, I get these too, and it works out well. But they are not sprouted or like certified gluten-free, I don't think. And I don't believe they're organic, but these are organic. So I went with these. It was a little bit of an upgrade. I'm gonna give them a try. I've never had them before, so hopefully they're good. I plan on continuing my oatmeal for breakfast morning habit. So a nice, warm, cozy bowl of oatmeal in the morning just sounds so good. Put on some fried cinnamon apples, maybe a little dollop of peanut butter. So good. You can also use these to make your own oat flour that you can use for baking and for making pancakes. I plan on using my grain mill to help me to do that. You can also use these to make oatmeal raisin cookies. That's a very nice fall, winter recipe. Also pumpkin pie spice or apple pie spiced granola. That sounds delicious. And of course, apple crisp, and even making baked cinnamon apples in the microwave. Next up, I picked up some dried fruit. So I've got raisins and I got dried cranberries. The raisins contain no added sugar, and the dried cranberries do contain added sugar, but there is no artificial sweeteners in here. Just double checking. Yeah, just cane sugar. So that's really important to me. It's really hard to find dried cranberries that do not contain added sugar, because otherwise they're probably gonna not taste very good. They're gonna taste very sour, and probably no one's gonna buy them. So they contain added sugar, but they don't contain artificial sweeteners, and that's really important to me. I'm not a fan of those because they can negatively affect your gut microbiota, which are the bacteria that live in your colon. And we really want to support those as much as possible because they are benefiting our health in so many ways, including your digestion, your immune health, and your mental health. Refined sugar isn't the best for them either, but if I have to like pick one over the other, I'm gonna pick the cane sugar over an artificial sweetener. I personally used to struggle big time with my gut health, and I just found a great improvement in my digestion when I cut out artificial sweeteners. So just something that I personally like to do. These dried fruits are good to add into cookies and muffins, or to even top on oatmeal when you're low on fresh fruit. So that is what I bought at Costco this past weekend to help me stock up and prep for fall cooking and baking. There are some other foods that I do like to stock my kitchen with for, this time of year and really just all year, but I already had ample supply of those, so I didn't really need to repurchase them, but I still wanted to share those with you just in case you're looking for more inspiration. So I've got Pecorino Romano cheese in my house at all times. I don't always carry a lot of different cheeses in my refrigerator, but I always have this cheese on hand. It's gonna last you a very, very long time. And you can use this to top on soups, stews, rice pilafs. I also like to add this on top of spaghetti squash with some like meat sauce. That's really good. Or to top on bread, even homemade pizza. And you can also use this to make a winter kale pesto. That's really good. Next is an avocado oil spray. I like to have this on hand because it just makes greasing baking pans so much easier. And I do a lot of baking in the fall and really all year long. Next up are nuts. I love to have walnuts and or pecans in my kitchen. Looking at the bag now, I probably could have bought more, but it's okay. I don't go through it that quickly. These are good for granola to add on top of oatmeal or yogurt bowls, in breakfast cookies, in muffins, or to even chop up and add into your apple crisp crumble topping. That's really good. It gives a nice crunch. I think it would also be really fun to make a cranberry walnut sourdough bread. And now thinking about it, I think I need to go back and get more. Next trip. Okay, next is pure vanilla extract. Use this all the time in baking, and Costco has a really good price for such a big bottle of it. Next up, I like to have a big old bottle of minced garlic in my kitchen. I used to buy garlic cloves, but this is just so much more convenient. It doesn't go bad. Just store it in your refrigerator after you open it. I did see it at Costco, but it wasn't organic, and the one I can get at Kroger is organic, and so I just get it at Kroger. I use garlic all the time while I cook, and it's a key ingredient in that bread dipping oil I was telling you guys about earlier. Next up are dried spices and herbs. I love to have these on hand. They really just elevate your dishes and they add in more nutrients and they really just take it up a notch in flavor. So I like to have pumpkin pie spice, ground ginger, ground allspice, ground nutmeg, and ground cinnamon. I don't usually buy apple pie spice just because it's usually very expensive, so I just prefer to make it myself. And for savory recipes, I like to have dried thyme leaves, ground thyme, dried oregano, dried basil, dried parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and also some black peppercorns to make freshly ground black pepper. I also like to have poultry seasoning, and I use that when I'm roasting a whole chicken and for my Thanksgiving turkey. And then there are some foods that I want to stock up on and buy in large quantities, but I'm waiting for them to go on a good sale. And once they do, I'm going to buy them. So those are cans of pumpkin puree and dark chocolate chips. I mainly use them for baking recipes, especially my pumpkin raisin chocolate chip cookies. Those are definitely baked on repeat here in my kitchen. That recipe is in my cookbook. And then I also love to make pumpkin bread and muffins. But this year, I also want to try to make a pumpkin soup and a pumpkin macaroni and cheese. I have not made those two before, so I'm excited. Now, I do like to buy real pumpkins, and then after the season, I will cut them open, remove the seeds, roast them, then puree it in my blender, and then freeze it so that I can have pumpkin, for many months. It does require some effort, I'm not gonna lie, it does, but it does make having a large amount of pumpkin puree on hand much more affordable, especially after the season of the cans being on sale. Okay, so those are the food staples that I have stocked up on already or am planning on stocking up on in larger quantities and how I like to use them during the fall season. Let me know in the comments below what foods you like to stock up on during this time of year and what fall recipe you are most excited to make again. If you want to see any of the recipe videos for meal ideas that I have mentioned in this video, go ahead and search on my channel and you are most likely going to find them. I have a lot of recipe videos here for you guys to take a look at and get some fun cooking inspiration from. So that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Simply Health with Marissa for more healthy living fall content. And I will see you in my next video. Stay well, my friends. Bye.